Imagine this. You apply for a mortgage. You're denied. You ask why, but no one can explain the decision. You apply for a job. You're screened out before a human even reads your name. Or worse, you're flagged as high risk in a courtroom by an algorithm you've never heard of, trained on data you've never seen for reasons no one can explain. These aren't hypotheticals. They're real scenarios unfolding today, shaped by artificial intelligence. AI is making decisions that influence who gets hired, who gets credit, who gets targeted, and who gets left out. And here's the critical truth. AI doesn't govern itself. That's where AI governance comes in. In this episode, we'll unpack what AI governance really means, not just as a technical discipline, but as a framework of values, oversight, and risk management. We'll go beyond the buzzwords and look at the stories that show why governance is no longer optional. It's essential. From facial recognition scandals to biased algorithms in criminal justice, we'll explore what happens when governance fails and what it takes to get it right. So whether you're a compliance leader, a risk analyst, or someone just trying to understand how AI is shaping your world, you're in the right place. Let's begin. What is AI governance? Really? It sounds like a formal term, but at its core, AI governance is simply this. It's the system that decides how artificial intelligence is built, used, and held accountable. Think of it as the operating system for responsible AI. Not the algorithm itself, but the guardrails around it. The structure that ensures AI doesn't just work, but works ethically, legally, and transparently. According to the IAPP, AI governance is a system of laws, policies, frameworks, and processes that enable oversight, risk management, and ethical alignment. The NIST AI Risk Management Framework expands this by defining governance as a cross-cutting function embedded throughout the AI lifecycle, from design to deployment, informing trustworthy decision-making at every step. Meanwhile, ISO 40-2001 treats governance as an auditable, structured AI management system. It's about embedding accountability into organizations, with specific controls for safety, fairness, and performance. And IBM boils it down to this: oversight that keeps AI systems fair, explainable, and human-aligned, not just technically compliant. Notice what all of these definitions have in common. Governance isn't a tool. It's a system. Governance doesn't happen once. It's ongoing. And governance isn't about eliminating all risk. It's about managing it transparently. Now here's where it gets interesting. AI governance is not the same thing as ethics, responsible AI, or compliance, though they're all related. Let's break that down. Ethics is the guiding star. It asks, what's the right thing to do? Compliance is the minimum bar. It says, what's legally required? Responsible AI is the aspiration. It's about using AI in ways that are fair and just. But AI governance is the engine that makes all three actionable. It's the policies that require audits. It's the board that reviews risk. It's the documentation that makes decisions explainable. Governance turns ideals into infrastructure. And as we'll soon see, when that infrastructure is missing, the consequences aren't just theoretical. They're tangible, systemic, and often irreversible. Why does AI need governance? Because AI isn't like past technologies. It's not just faster, it's different. And that difference is what makes it dangerous when left unchecked. Let's unpack this. AI systems are often opaque, sometimes called black boxes. Their decision logic is difficult, even impossible, for humans to fully understand. They're increasingly autonomous. AI doesn't just recommend anymore. It acts, approving loans, flagging fraud, screening resumes. And they operate at massive scale, impacting millions of people, often without their knowledge. Combine those three qualities, opacity, autonomy, and scale, and you get systems that can amplify harm at speed, without clear accountability. From a governance perspective, that's a red flag. When we talk about the importance of AI governance, we're not speaking in abstractions. We're talking about real systems with real-world consequences. So let's unpack two pivotal case studies that reveal what happens when governance mechanisms fall short: the Clearview AI facial recognition database and the Compass algorithm used in the U.S. criminal justice system. Let's start with Clearview AI. Clearview scraped billions of publicly available images from social media and other websites to build an expansive facial recognition database. This database was then used by law enforcement and private entities to identify individuals. often without their knowledge or consent. From a governance perspective, this practice triggered serious legal backlash. Under the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, biometric data such as facial images cannot be processed without explicit consent. In the United States, Illinois' Biometric Information Privacy Act, BIPA, requires written, informed consent before collecting or storing biometric identifiers. Clearview violated both of these laws. The consequences were significant. European regulators fined the company, and in the U.S., Clearview settled a class action lawsuit by agreeing to pay over $50 million in equity and limit its operations within Illinois. The judgment made clear the public availability of images does not equate to consent for biometric surveillance. Now let's shift to the Compass algorithm, a tool designed to predict the likelihood that a criminal defendant will reoffend. Used across U.S. courts, Compass was marketed as a neutral, data-driven system meant to improve sentencing fairness. But it fell short of that promise. A 2016 investigation by ProPublica found that black defendants were almost twice as likely as white defendants to be falsely labeled as high risk, even when controlling for factors like age and prior offenses. Meanwhile, white defendants were often mislabeled as low risk, despite subsequently committing new crimes. What's striking is the lack of transparency. The algorithm's logic was proprietary and opaque. Defendants had no way to challenge its outputs. Even attempts to remove race from the dataset failed to eliminate bias, because proxy variables like zip code and income still carried racial signals. Both Clearview and Compass underscore the need for robust AI governance. These aren't fringe cases. They represent systemic failures that compromise civil liberties, fairness, and privacy. And here's the key takeaway: governance isn't just about compliance checklists. It's about embedding ethical safeguards into every stage of the AI lifecycle. That means transparent model design, rigorous audits, public accountability, and continuous monitoring. According to the IBM definition, AI governance refers to the standards, policies, and oversight mechanisms that guide how AI systems are built, deployed, and evaluated. It exists to help ensure these technologies align with human rights, ethical norms, and legal expectations. And when those guardrails are weak or missing, the outcomes can be discriminatory, unjust, or even unlawful. So as we continue to integrate AI into high-stakes domains like criminal justice, law enforcement, hiring, and healthcare, the Clearview and Compass cases offer us a powerful warning. Without proactive, principle-based governance, we risk scaling harm under the illusion of algorithmic objectivity. Now is the time to strengthen those systems, because the cost of failure isn't theoretical, it's human.